we are going to discuss your biochemistry second part, that is biochemistry of feed state. What happen when the food is taken and what is happen in the feed state. In the feeding state, what is happening in our body? When we eat something, the blood glucose level will be normal, or the blood glucose level will be higher because we eating something. They're producing the energy, and the energy currency is glucose. The glucose is formed. What happen in our body? Suppose that we can see here the intestine, we can see here the blood vessels or the blood circulation. In the intestine we take anything there is. Suppose that we take carbohydrate, we take proteins, and we take lipids. The carbohydrate is converted into the glucose, the protein is converted into amino acid, and the lipids is converted into fatty acids. And what are the amount of their conversion is it? The carbohydrate is 40 to 60%, the protein is 10 to 15%, and the lipids are 30 to 40% of the lipids are converted into the fatty acid. After that, these are transported, the glucose, the amino acid, the fatty acid, they all are transported to the blood circulation. They all are reaches to the blood circulation. They reaches to the blood circulation, and for which the glucose here is transported into the blood, the amino acid here is transported into the blood, but the fatty acid is not transported directly into the blood circulation. They are attached with the glycerol and they forming the triacyl glycerol, TSG. After that, this TSG is carried out in the form of chylomicrons, and they reaches and their numbers should be increases in the blood circulation. So the chylomicrons is for the TAG source. TAG source is responsible for the chylomicrons. The first we discuss the three sources. There is the carbohydrate, proteins, and the lipids. The carbohydrate is 40 to 60%, protein is 10 to 15%, and the lipid is 30 to 40%. They all are converted their simpler complex form, and then they reaches to the blood circulation, and after that the formation of they produces energy. They increase the blood glucose, they increase the protein synthesis, they increase the chylomicrons, like this. After that, we are going to see how in our body the different parts of our body gets acted after the taking food. Means we take food, and after some time what happen in our body? It means the energy is higher, it means glucose is higher, it means the more glucose is formation in our body. After taking food, the ATP synthesis will be increased in our body, and the different parts, what happen in our different parts of our body. Suppose that in our skeletal muscle, suppose that in our brain, in our liver, in our pancreas, what should we learn here? We can see the first term is the blood glucose regulation in the feed cycle. How the blood glucose gets controlled or they gets regulated in the feed cycle. It means after eating the blood glucose is higher. It is pretty true. After the taking, the blood glucose level will be higher, and this should be enter. This is the pancreas here. This is the pancreas. Inside the pancreas, the glucose will be entered, and they forming glucose 6-phosphate. They forming the glucose 6-phosphate in the presence of GK, that is glucokinase enzyme. In the presence of glucokinase enzyme inside the pancreas, this glucose is converted into the glucose 6-phosphate, and there is the ATP is produced. This ATP is increases in the amount, and they sending signals to the beta cells of pancreas. They sending signals to the beta cells of pancreas. They all are sending signals to the beta cells of pancreas, and the beta cells of pancreas is known for the synthesis of insulin. They are responsible for the synthesis of insulin. The beta cells, they produces insulin inside the vesicles, and through the exocytosis process, they releases insulin outside, and these insulin are going to the different parts of our body, and they acting on the different receptors, and the uptaking of glucose will be occurs, and the different cells will survive in this way. Here is the pancreas. Inside the pancreas, the insulin synthesis after the blood glucose level will be higher in our body after the taking meal in the fast food cycle. As we see here, what happened, the blood glucose level, how the blood glucose is regulated. The inside the pancreas, we have to also memorize this, the GLUT2 receptors is present here through which the glucose enters inside the pancreas. These are the insulin independent glucose transporter through which GLUT2, there are the different types of glucose GLUT receptors, and here is the GLUT2 that is responsible for the glucose. Blood glucose should be enters into the pancreas. Next point is the action of insulin. What we do now, first we see the synthesis of insulin occurs when the glucose comes inside the pancreas, the activating it, and the insulin releases by the pancreas. After some time it happens, the insulin action. The action of insulin, we can see what happened, what we are going to do here. The insulin is synthesized, and early responses of insulin is the increasing of blood glucose in our body. It means inside the blood the glucose level will be higher due to eating food, and the increasing insulin is responsible for the activating GLUT4 receptors. The activating GLUT4 receptors in the any cell. In the any cell, suppose that this is the cell. In the any cell, there is the GLUT4 receptors are present inside the vesicles. There is intracellular vesicles. These are increasing and they are releasing the GLUT4 receptors. These GLUT4 receptors are responsible for the uptaking of glucose by the skeletal muscles, adipose tissue, and heart. These are the receptors which are synthesized by the insulin. What are they? That is GLUT4 receptors. Where they are located? They are located in the skeletal muscle, they are located in the heart, they are located in the adipose tissue. The GLUT4 receptors are synthesized and they are responsible for the uptake of glucose. Where they are located? They are located on the heart, adipose tissue, and the skeletal muscles. And that the maximum will be present into the skeletal muscles. And GLUT4 transporter is basically present in our peripheral part. It means peripheral, there is a location of muscles, mainly in the skeletal muscles. What happened in the liver in fed state? Now we are going to discuss in the liver. In the liver, what happened in the liver in the fed state? Suppose that this structure is denoting the liver here, and here is the in the blood glucose level will be the higher, and these glucose are entered through the GLUT2 receptors. As we know now, GLUT2 receptors are responsible for the transporting of glucose from blood to inside the different organs, and GLUT2 is responsible for the inside the glucose is entered here. From here to here, glucose is entered with the help of GLUT2 receptors. GLUT4 receptors are synthesized by the, we can see here, insulin. After the activation of insulin in the feed cycle from the pancreas, we can see after the taking of glucose inside, in the presence of glucokinase or hexokinase or glucokinase enzyme, they are converted glucose into the glucose 6-phosphate. G6P means glucose 6-phosphate, and they are enters into the 3 pathway. Maybe there is having 3 fate of the glucose 6-phosphate after the blood glucose level increase in the liver. There is a three main parts. The first one is glycolysis, the second one is glycogen synthesis, and the third one is HMP pathway. Maybe they entered into the 3 phases. The first one is glycolysis, second one is glycogen synthesis, means glycogen formation, and they are stored inside the liver. Glycogen, as we know, they are stored mainly in the liver and adipose tissues or the peripheral parts, mainly in the liver. That's why the glycogen synthesis, when we eat something, they are higher amount, then we want to store it when they are more in amount. So the liver is doing like same, they accepting and they converting it, they synthesizing the packing form of the glycogen and they storing to them. That is glycogen synthesis. Next one is glycolysis. Glycolysis is doing for the instant source of energy, and there is activation of the glycolysis. We discuss later in detail what is glycolysis and how the pathway is working. We are taking here an overview of everything. The glycolysis, inside the glycolysis, the last step formation is pyruvate, and this pyruvate is converted into acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA enters into the TCA cycle, that is Krebs cycle, and they produces ATP in this manner. In this manner, we are going to produce ATP from here to here. That is glycolysis. To in the glycolysis, they produce pyruvate to acetyl-CoA to tricarboxylic acid cycle will be learned, and we can see after that the production of ATP. And here we can also see another way. Inside the second one we know glycogen synthesis. In the third one, HMP pathway, they produces HMP shunt or HMP pathway is producing NADPH. What is the role of NADPH here? This NADPH is converting the acetyl CoA into fatty acid synthesis or the glycerol. Combinedly, these are now called as we see above. These both are called as TAG, and TAG is endogenous in nature. They are forming VLDL. VLDL is the very low density lipoproteins. These are the kind of lipoproteins they are synthesized here. VLDL is synthesized by the triacyl glycerol, and triacyl glycerol is a combination of two things, that is fatty acids and glycerol. And fatty acid synthesis is required a special type of carrier or the special type of cofactor. A special type of cofactor is used here, that is NADPH, and that is formed by the which pathway? HMP pathway. There is a 3-link reaction in the liver. In the fed step, 3 pathway will be run. The first one, after the glucose entering into the liver through the GLUT2 receptors, they is forming glycolysis, glycogen synthesis or the HMP pathway. From the HMP pathway we get NADPH, and from the glycogen synthesis we get glycogen in the stored form inside the liver. When it required after in the fasting stage or the early fasting stage, this glycogen will be required. And the glycolysis, there is a conversion of glucose into the pyruvate. After that they are converted to acetyl-CoA, they're running inside the Krebs cycle, and they're producing ATP after the electron transport chain. Doing like this inside the liver, these things are happen, and we have to memorize. These all are the overview. We discuss everything in detail later. Next point we are going to see here, in a skeletal muscle. What happened in a skeletal muscle in the fed state? In the fed state, what happened inside the skeletal muscles? In a skeletal muscles, in our peripheral muscles, what happened after the taking meal? These are the skeletal muscles. Suppose that these all are the single skeletal muscle, and inside the skeletal muscle there is a special type of receptor, GLUT4. GLUT4 is for the transporting of glucose from outside to inside. The glucose are entered here from outside to inside with the help of which type of receptors? GLUT4 receptors. GLUT4 receptors is entering for the glucose is here. This glucose is converted to glucose 6-phosphate in the presence of glucokinase or hexokinase. After that there is having 3 fat also. 3 fat means 3 main parts. They're going glucose 6-phosphate is enters into 3 main pathways, the first, the second, the third. The first one is glycogen synthesis, once again in the form of glycogen. The carbohydrates are stored. Next the glycolysis will be done, and glycolysis we know. After that we take the formation of pyruvate is converted into acetyl-CoA. The acetyl-CoA is converted into the they enters into the Krebs cycle. After that they produces ATP by the electron transport chain. And here in the third step we can see the pyruvate is converted into acetyl-CoA, TCA cycle entered like this. So these all are happen in the skeletal muscles. So what happen in skeletal muscles? The GLUT4 receptors through the glucose enters inside it. The glycogen synthesis will also occurs in the peripheral tissues or the skeletal muscles. The glycolysis pathway will be run, glycogen synthesis will be run, and the glycogenesis will be occur. Next one, what happened in the adipocytes? Adipocytes means adipose tissue cells. Adipose tissue cells means what are the fatty cells? Fatty tissue cells are the adipose cells, and what happened inside the adipocyte cells in the fed condition? In the fed condition means well fed condition. What happened? The glucose is increased in our blood circulation. These glucose are entered inside our adipocyte cells with the help of GLUT4 receptors. Here the receptors are located through which the something is entered inside it. The glucose is entered inside the adipose cells through the which receptor? GLUT4 receptor. After the entering, the glucose is converted into glucose 6-phosphate in the presence of which enzyme? Glucokinase or hexokinase. After that they enters into the first step glycolysis, the second step HMP pathway, and the third step pyruvate conversion directly. So first they are entered into glycolysis, they produces pyruvate, and this pyruvate enters into acetyl-CoA and the fatty acid synthesis or the TCA cycle. Here the acetyl-CoA is having two fate. They are enters into either fatty acid synthesis, or they are either going to the TCA cycle or the tricarboxylic acid cycle or the Krebs cycle or the fatty acid synthesis. Once again, the HMP pathway producing what? NADPH. They are required for the what? Fatty acid synthesis. As we discussed previously, they are used for the fatty acid synthesis. Once again, we are discussing here what happened inside the adipocytes in the fed state. The glucose amount is increasing in the blood. They enters inside the adipose tissue. They converting into the glucose 6-phosphate. After that, they are going for the glycolysis or the HMP pathway and pyruvate conversion. After the pyruvate, they converted into the acetyl-CoA and they enters into the fatty acid synthesis or either TCA cycle or the Krebs cycle, or the HMP pathway producing NADPH. They are required for the fatty acid synthesis also. The NADPH is required for the, it is a coenzyme that is required for them. Next we are going to discuss here next part, that is RBC in fed test. What happened with RBCs after the fed state? We taking the much energy required for our body, and after what happened after the milk taken inside the RBCs, they are the basically the RBC having no mitochondria, so there is no glycolysis will be happen. The aerobic glycolysis will be not happen. No TCA cycle, no electron transport chain will be occur. There is a special type of glycolysis will be occur. That one is called as anaerobic glycolysis. It is an obligatory requirement of the glucose in the RBC. RBC have no any source of production of energy because there is no mitochondria basically. That's why there is anaerobic glycolysis. There is an absence of mitochondria here in the RBCs. And how they produces ATP? They produce ATP by the HMP pathway or the GLUT1 receptors in the RBC are present, and they are the rapid liberating cycle is present here. There are three types of cycle is working in the RBCs. The first one is HMP pathway for the NADPH production, and the second one is HMP pathway is done rapid liberating pathway and the rapid liberating cycle at the anaerobic glycolysis. They are the three pathway which runs in the well-fed condition inside the RBC. We have to memorize it must to memorize inside the RBC anaerobic glycolysis is happen in the normal condition, not abnormal condition, because there is absence of mitochondria. There is no any source of energy production house in the RBCs in the normal condition. That's why there is anaerobic glycolysis will be happen. And what type of receptors is located into the RBCs? GLUT1. They are responsible for the entering of glucose from outside to inside the cell, and there are three types of pathway will be done: anaerobic glycolysis, rapid liberating pathway, or the HMP pathway. What happened in brain after the taking of milk in the fed condition or the well-fed condition inside the brain? What happened inside the brain? In the brain there is a GLUT1 receptor or GLUT3 receptor, both are present, and GLUT3 are the most common. Inside the brain, when the blood is reaches the full of glucose, glucose is reaching to the brain, and they wants to enter inside the brain. They have to bind to the receptor GLUT1 or GLUT3, mainly GLUT3, and before blood brain barrier, BBB is representing here blood brain barrier. Before the crossing of blood brain barrier, they are enters through the GLUT1 receptor, but after the blood brain barrier crossing, they wants to enter inside the more deeply, they have to cross through the GLUT3 receptor mostly. So now you know what are the main receptors which are through which the glucose is enters inside the brain. That is GLUT1 and GLUT3. These glucose are enters inside the brain, and there is anaerobic glycolysis is occur in most of the time. Means only oxidative pathway in the brain is happen, not mostly, always. We can say always in our brain there is always aerobic glycolysis will be happen, never anaerobic glycolysis. There is always production of ATP in the presence of oxygen. There is an aerobic glycolysis is done, and then what is means aerobic glycolysis? Glycolysis produces pyruvate is converted into acetyl-CoA is enters into TCA cycle is enters into ETC is producing ATP. So like this, the ATP production will be increased in the brain. And what type of GLUT receptors will be located? GLUT1 and GLUT3. Before blood-brain barrier, what is located? That is GLUT1. After that, GLUT3. And what type of glycolysis will be happen in the brain? Aerobic glycolysis always. during the starvation, what happened in the brain? What happened to the brain during the starvation? We can see here, during starvation the brain depends on glucose most of the time. Most of the time the brain is depending on the glucose, but sometimes when the glucose is not available, they are depending on mostly on the ketone bodies. They are the two source of energy for the brain. The first, most of the time, in the 100 times, 99% time is using the glucose, and the only 1% time is they are using ketone bodies. We can see here the next point is the brain constitutes 2% of the total body weight. What is our body weight? They carry the 2% of the weight by the brain, and they consuming 20% of oxygen. They carry just 2% of our body weight, but they carry 20% of the body demand of oxygen is carried out by the brain. And they always recycling, and most favorable fuel is glucose. As I told now, there is a glucose is a favorite fuel for the brain, or it is the most reliable food, or the most reliable source of the glucose is only the brain is happen in the well-fed state. In the well-fed state means the person is eating very well. In that condition, glucose is the energy source. It is good. In early fasting stage, glucose is the main part which supply the energy to the brain. In fasting stage also the glucose is providing energy to the brain, because the brain is highly conscious for the glucose. They are the highly demanding for the glucose. And in the starvation condition, in the last step, the conversion of there is no glucose in our body. That's why the ketone bodies are producing energy. They producing energy, and they giving the brain, and they supply the only 20% of our energy requirement. All other 80% is also supplied by the glucose. It means what happened here, our brain demanding oxygen all the time, and the energy form there is a ATP, and in the form of glucose they require their demand of energy in the form of glucose is always when the person is in a starvation condition, in the severe starvation condition more than 5 days. Then it happens the demand of oxygen and glucose is also by the brain. They are also demanding glucose. But what happened in this sense, the suppose that the glucose level be that much decreases, the body is not producing enough glucose, but also the brain is demanding glucose up to the 80%, and 20% the mixing up to the they working with ketone bodies. It means the brain is highly conscious, or the as we can say they are the important fuel for the brain is our glucose. So this is all about the general discussion about our biochemistry. In the overview, we are going to discuss one by one what is the pathway, what is the bioenergetic cycles, what is the glycolysis, what is amino acid cycle, in which everything we discuss step by step. This is the overview of everything what we have to discuss later. So that's all for now, and thank you for watching. See you in next video. Bye.